Alright guys, thanks for joining. Today I'll be showing you how to do this using Adobe After Effects. Okay, so let's jump right into After Effects. Here I have a clip of Mana and Karen doing a stunt. So we want to create a light trail to follow the sword. I'm going to quickly create a solid and turn off the visibility and then create a mask. Now we want to make sure that the masks follow the sword correctly. And then I'm going to add a plugin from Trapcode 3D Strokes. And then I'm going to adjust the settings to follow the mask and the sword correctly. So I'm going to change the settings from the end and the start. And I'm going to have something like this. Okay, that is cool. So I want to adjust the settings to make it look more lively. I'm going to change the taper and then add repeater to have a few number of it, and then change the color from white to red. Once that is done, I'm going to duplicate the layer and then pre-compose and change the name to trail. So I'm also going to duplicate that layer and then add an effect, time echo. So I'm going to adjust the settings. I'm going to increase the number of echoes and then adjust the time. I want to select the layer and then copy the mask and then paste it here. So I'm going to delete the 3D strokes and then add an effect from Video Copilot, Saber. And so I want to change the core type from Saber to layer mask and then change the composition settings to transparent. And also change the color from blue to something orangey. Of course you can change the color to whatever you want, but in this case I think I prefer the orange. Yeah, kind of look more lively. Or lest I forget, we want to select the trail layer and then add an effect called vector blur. And in that effect I want to make sure the effect is above the echo, and then I'm going to adjust the amount, and then we can change the property from light to luminance, and that is cool. Now we have more contrast. As you can see, it's quite cool, and then there's a lot of contrast to the effect. Now back to Saber, and I want to animate the offset to follow the mask just like we did before with the 3D strokes. And this is where things begin to get real interesting, because that's the part where you have to make everything look more realistic. So I'm going to increase the glow intensity and then change the blending mode to screen. Once I do that, I'm going to add an effect called fast blur, and I'm going to increase the amount to about 114 and then change the layer blending mode to add this time. So I'm going to create a solid, and then I'll make sure to pre-compose the 2 trail layers and then create a light. So you can name the light whatever you want, but be sure to leave the light type at point. So I'm going to click on the solid, and this time I'm going to add another third plugin from Trapcode called Particular. Now once that is done, I'll need to select a name for the emitter and then also change the emitter type to light. So now we can align the lights to follow the light trail. So well, you can see some particles as they emit while the light flows. And then we're going to add some details by adjusting the life and the size of the particle over time. Now we can also add gravity to make it look more realistic, so we can have weights on the effects while they fly around. So I'm going to adjust some settings here, and then now I'm going to do a quick rotoscope to have the character in front of the effect, and I want to add a little detail to the sword. So I'm going to quickly create a solid and then create a mask to follow the sword. Yeah, you want to make sure that goes from the beginning to the end. So now we're going to add a solid and then add a plugin called Saber. So we'll change it from Saber to layer mask and then change the blending modes and you should be able to have some like this. Okay, I'm going to change the color from blue to orange and make it a little bit glowy by changing the blending mode as well. And now we should have something as this. Okay, thank you very much for watching this tutorial. Hope to see you next.